Welcome to the first Q&A of the goal setting workshop. I have a few questions that have been sent in and that have been asked in regards to goal setting and just the whole process and what it looks like. So I'm going to dive right in and get going on your questions. The first one that comes up often is, how do I choose the right goal? Or how do I know, you talk about your average, good, and excellent, exceptional goal. How do I know what kind of goal I'm setting? And what I always go back to, and what has kind of guided me throughout the process year after year when I'm setting my goals, as is first, it should scare you. It should excite you and kind of terrify you all at the same time. And why I say that is, again, you want your goal to be worthy of you, meaning that it should be something that you don't know necessarily how you're going to get. You do not know the how, you just know you desire it. And that's the exciting part is, oh, I'm just really excited. I want this. I desire it. I just need to get this goal. I would love to have this. And at the same time, I have no idea how that would happen. It's a little bit far. It feels a little bit far out of reach. And the truth is once you decide on your goal and you make an irrevocable, committed decision that that's what you're going to do, it's already done and it's already out there. So now what you have to do is I guess, your purpose and kind of what you have to show up and do for this process is raise your vibration. So that's where you come from your goal, not to your goal. So it's connecting to your goal as much as you can throughout the day and feeling it as if it's already here and done. And that's why the goal has to inspire you. That's the inspiration part. So the terrified and just a little bit of fear-based is because you have no idea how it's going to get it. And the inspired part is your why. So many people have a why, but it's generic and they don't connect to their why. So your goal needs to inspire you, meaning that every day that you wake up, you're excited about it. It's the first thing you think about. You have, it's this magnificent obsession with your goal where you're starting to make decisions around your goal and you're showing up in a different way, you're talking differently, you're listening to different things, you're behaving differently, you're taking care of your health differently, whatever that looks like for you. And if your goal doesn't inspire you, very quickly it will fade away. And that's why when I go to choose my goal, I sit down and I think about, one of the exercises would be, what if you could wake up tomorrow and live your perfect day? What would your perfect day look like? What are you doing? Who are you doing it with? Where are you living? Where are you going? What are you listening to? Who are you surrounded by? Who are you working next to? How many people are working for you? What impact are you making? So really think about that and start writing that out. And as I said before, my one of my mentors had me do that for 7 days straight. Write out what your ideal day would look like. Like if it was 12 months or 24 months from now and you've achieved your goal, what does that look like? What are you doing? And then do that for 7 days. Give yourself, maybe 20 minutes to 45 minutes, depending on how long it is. It will get longer as the days go on. At least it did for me, because the first day you'll just start generalizing, I guess, what that would look like. And then as you go day by day by day, you'll add to the first day and you'll be like, well, then I want to do this, or I want to go here, or yeah, I'm going to get there, but it's going to be a VIP ticket, or I'm going to fly first class, or I'm going to do a private jet, or I'm going to own the jet. I mean, so really dive in and look at the details, because the more detailed you can be, the better. The universe will respond so much more to clear goals. And if you're more specific and your intention around it is tight, it's about keeping the container tight. So think about that as you're doing the exercise, and you can do it for 7 days. And I promise you, when you read day 7 versus day 1, night and day difference. It's a really cool exercise, and that might help you. So another question I get is, all right, so we've got the goal. So you figured out this goal, you've done the exercises, you have your goal that both inspires you and terrifies you. Now, where do you begin? So what you want to do is every morning when you wake up, you're recommitting. You're recommitting to your goal every day. So it's making an irrevocable, committed decision that this is what you're doing no matter what. And now that you've made that, you recommit to it first thing when you wake up. What are you doing today to get you closer to your goal? Again, the how will show the people, the circumstances, the money, the opportunities, the, whatever it is that needs to be provided to you for you to get the goal, that will show its way and be presented to you. It'll be put in your path. Your role is to take inspired action, to create discipline. So what you'll need to start doing is being disciplined, coming from your goal. So it's an hour after your goal is achieved. How do you feel? Who do you need to become in the process to achieve that goal? Again, the goal is the side effect. It's who you become in the process. That's the real win, because you're not going to get there from where you are today and who you are today. So 1% better every day. Become 1% better every day. Write down 3 to 6 activities you can do every day that will get you closer to your goal. And do that. Do the hardest one first. Get it out of the way. When you're at your energy's at its highest, you're at your best, do that hard one first. Check it off your list. Then the rest of them will be much, much easier. And do that day after day after day. And again, that's why your goal needs to inspire you, because so many people will give up because the results aren't coming. The way is not being shown. I just failed. This didn't work. All of that is just feedback. And we'll get into a lot more of the higher faculties and the 5 senses and how all that will work. And you can use that on this journey, because this is a journey. These videos you should be watching over and over and over again, because it's the repetition that will get you from where you are to where you want to be. The first time we go through the video, or you watch this, or any information, a book, a podcast, a class, anything, you're getting maybe 40% of what's presented to you. The next time, maybe another 20, another 15 to 20 after that. So on average, you should be watching these videos 4 times. And then go back and start over when you're getting ready to set your next goal. This you can be using year after year after year. I know it's what I've done, and I continue to set these goals. I have no idea how it's going to happen. And you follow the process, which we'll be going through over these next weeks together. It's phenomenal. And it's about choosing fear or faith. Every day you show up and you choose fear, which is going to keep you stuck, or you choose faith, which will get you to your goal. Neither of them you can see. You cannot see fear or faith. They're both there, and you choose. And 90% or so of the population, again, they're choosing fear. They're choosing to stay stuck and to stay where they're at and not go for what it is they truly desire and want, because they don't understand this process and how it works, and that you have to detach from your 5 senses and detach from your current results and come from your goal. people will choose the fear because they'll stay where they'll rationalize why they don't need that big goal. Oh, I'm fine where I'm at. This is good enough. Who do I think I am? My parents didn't have that. My friends are fine. My family, they're saying this, they're saying that. I need to be responsible and I need to stay right here and do this day after day after day because I'll know what I'm going to get. I know what to expect. It's not uncomfortable at all. And another thing I can promise you is growth happens when you're uncomfortable. You can stay where you are, you can stay the same, you can choose to be comfortable and you'll know what you'll get. And it's the people that want to go for that goal and want to feel uncomfortable and feel the fear and do it anyway. That's where the magic happens. But you won't get there from who you are today. So as you're setting these goals, begin at the beginning. Every day when you wake up, you recommit to it. Do 1% better every day and choose something that you're going to be disciplined around. Maybe it's the time you get up. Maybe it's the 3 to 5 things that you're doing every day to move you towards your goal. Maybe it's switching out one bad habit for another. Or if you happen to, I stopped watching the news completely years ago, but I used to fall asleep to the news. I'd wake up to the news. It would be in the background. And think about the things that are draining your energy. Just think about it. If it's people, if it's things you're watching, if it's things you're hearing, if it's conversations you're having, think about that and really start removing yourself or removing those things and replacing them with things that will serve you. As I've said before, we are at, it's an amazing time to be alive, regardless of all the things that you hear that are going on or could happen or may happen or what's happening. In general, this technology that's all around us, all the free information, the ways we can get to the top 5 people through YouTube, through podcasts, through books, through, just learning. It's all here for you and mostly free. So find new people. I encourage you once a day or once a week, watch a 5 to 10 minute video, go to YouTube, Google what you want, or maybe you already have someone you follow. Suggestions will pop up. Other videos will pop up. Click on one you've never watched or someone you don't know anything about. And through that, I found other entrepreneurs, highly successful people that play in the top 1, 3 to 5% of everyone in this world. Learn from them. They're out there. Many of them want to help. They're putting their content, their information, their strategies out there for free. And of course, yeah, you could maybe hire most of them aren't for hire. They don't have an hourly rate to coach people, but they're giving it away, or they'll tell you books, or they'll tell you other people. There is a path to get from where you are to where you want to be. And this day and age, it's never been easier, meaning that there's information out there and people out there that want to help and that you can tap into and plug into and get 1% better every day. It will make such a difference, and it's phenomenal. Absolutely. So think about doing that to do your 1% better every day. That's where you can begin. Start switching out and really watching your thoughts. What are you thinking? Who are you surrounding yourself with? If you're complaining, or you're surrounding yourselves around people that are complaining. I know I had a family member I was really close to. That's all it was. I mean, it was complaining. I would say one thing and they would go to the extreme, like negative of it. Like, oh, I'm going to go downtown. There's this whole have fun with parking. It's like, oh my gosh. So watch out for those people. And what Bob Proctor told me is just don't go as often and don't stay as long, because you control your environment. You can control it. And if you feel like you can't, then again, I'll challenge you on that. because there's so many things that we do on autopilot every day that you can switch out. Or again, don't go as often, don't stay as long. Someone says something because they want to battle with you, or you're used to, going down that rabbit hole of complaining or of, the same stories over and over again, or woe is me, cup half empty. Just say that's interesting and switch the subject. Get them to talk about something else. Get them to talk about something good that's happening in their life. But the more that you just sit there and you don't choose differently, choose different thoughts, choose to protect yourself and keep your container tight, you're letting everything in or it's leaking all over the place, that's the result you're going to get. Got to understand that the people that get anywhere of consequence and get to these goals know that it's not going to happen from where they are. Know they need to figure out different habits. They need to figure out just different disciplines. They need to set a standard that's high and they don't drop it. So when they get around those people, maybe from their childhood or their family, and you have your standard, it's set, but you want to make these people feel heard and seen, and you don't want them to be uncomfortable. So you drop down and you go over and over and you just keep dropping. Don't do that. Truly hold your standard, and either they'll entrain to your new energy or they'll go away, or don't go as often. They won't stay as long. Because what happens, and it happened in my journey, and it happens in all people that do, again, anything of consequence in this life, is they set a new standard. They come from their standard. They build disciplines around here. Their self-image improves. Their attitude improves. What they're hearing, what they're thinking, what they're seeing, their environment improves. And it makes people very uncomfortable, because typically what you're doing is you're holding a mirror up in front of these people. And that's where I heard Alex Hormozy say it. If you don't know him, he's got a pretty cool story. And he talked about it. He's like, everyone wants you to succeed. Everyone around you wants you to be successful until you're more successful than them. And he's like, it happened to me. It happens to so many. He's like, that's why a lot of people stay stuck too, because they want to keep people happy. They listen to people they shouldn't be listening to. When they go back home for the holidays or whatever, they get pulled back into that old programming. And it's just, you start, stop. So you have to sometimes make choices that are really, really hard. And most people aren't willing to make because it's uncomfortable. But holding your standard, that is a huge one. You hold your standard no matter what people say or do, because you're going to make people uncomfortable, bottom line, around you that know you, because this isn't the version they know of you. No one likes change. No one likes to be changed. I think we do like change. People just don't like to have change forced upon them at all. So think about that. And just awareness, it's all awareness. It's awareness of all of this. Once you see this and you hear it and you experience it, you can't unsee it, you can't unhear it, and you can't unexperience it. And that's a true gift, because the awareness it creates. And now you can start seeing patterns. You can start seeing your own triggers. You can start responding versus reacting and all the things. So it's a pretty cool thing about beginning. And just begin. Start where you are, knowing that you're there for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. So start where you're at and do some of all those things. Pick one. 1% better every day for sure. The other question that came in was, what's like a routine or specifics on the things that I just kind of talked about doing. So daily disciplines. How are you starting your day? I guess a lot of people, there's kind of a lot of people out there have like morning routines, and you can like get up and do meditation, and then you do an exercise, and then you do journaling, and then you do affirmations, and then gratitude and all that stuff. You know, if this is us, especially if this is like your first time going for this type of a thing or changing, I would just pick one or two, maybe three, but you don't have to go from 0 to 100. The main thing is get into action. So if you're delaying and if you have this 1 to 3 hour morning routine before you ever get into action, I would question that. You know, and if that's what you need to set yourself up for an amazing day, absolutely. My routine is between a half hour and an hour. It used to be a little bit longer, but I shortened it because I want to get into action. I want to get to my 3 to 5 things that are going to move my business forward. And yet I want to do it in the right mindset, in the frame of mind. So I get that straight right away in the morning, recommit to my goal, look at what I'm going to be doing, always go to gratitude, do my gratitude, listen to some music, you know, or if you want to take a quick walk, maybe you have a dog you need to walk, listen to music while you're doing that. There's so many different things. Affirmations. A lot of people talk about affirmations, and I know the mirror exercise, when you look in your left eye and you say your affirmation 5 times, and then you look in your right eye, or you just, you know, say your goal, say I am worthy, say I am strong, I am healthy, I am happy, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, you know, I am enough, whatever it is. And you can also do that while you're getting ready, or you can do that while you're in the shower, or you can do that while you're driving. Record your goal, record what you've written down on your 7 days of what your perfect day would look like, and listen to that. You know, I used to listen to the radio all the time. I mean, all the time. Whenever I was in my car, I'd have it in the background at home. And I don't listen to the radio much anymore because I'm either listening to my goal, myself talking, I'm listening to a podcast, I'm listening to a YouTube video, I'm listening to something that will expand me. Now, not 100% of the time, but a lot more than I ever was before. So you can also do things throughout the day and double up on other activities you're doing and get some mindset stuff working for you, get some different perspectives working and all of that. My coach right now has me set an alarm every 3 hours so that I can check my vibration, see where I'm at, and connect to the frequency of my goal every 3 hours throughout the day. 10 a.m., 1 p.m., 4 and 7, and before I go to bed and when I wake up. You know, it just has to be 2 to 3 minutes. Again, building that discipline, because if you just think about in the morning and then you go into, this isn't working, I don't see the results, you know, where are the clients, how is this going to happen? That's sending double binding messages all day long. And that's starting, stopping. You're never going to get to your goal that way. That's why it's really important to check throughout the day where you're at, recalibrate your vibration to your frequency. And the interesting thing is, the more you do that, the correction will become a lot less. At first, it's going to be like this, and then it will just kind of, you know, be a little bit less and less and less. Will you live there 100% of the time? No, no one does. And yet, the awareness around it, how you'll catch yourself, your thoughts, your double binding messages. Nope, I'm disconnecting from my 5 senses and my current results, and I'm coming from my goal. You'll get really good at this if you're intentional about it. So definitely be intentional about that, and go to gratitude. Always. I was so reactive versus responsive before I found this information. I mean, even how I drive is different. I can't even tell you when someone cuts me off, how frustrated I used to get, or it's like, I'm a victim. Why are you doing this to me? Or I'm late, get out of my way, you know, whatever that would be. And that's, you know, that's just, think about all the energy you're expelling out of yourself for this circumstance that you really can't control. Bless them. You know, I've said before, I have a song I sing with my daughter when someone cuts me off or I don't think they're a very good driver, just to make it funny, make it, you know, and then we play a guessing game. I wonder where they're going in such a hurry. I hope everything's okay. Maybe they have to get their daughter somewhere, maybe someone's in the hospital, or maybe something happened, or maybe they forgot something, whatever it is, just give people a little bit more grace. And if you can't control it, don't put a lot of energy behind it. So start looking for the good, because there is good in every situation. It's a law of polarity. There's opposite to everything. There's an in, there's an out, there's an up, there's a down, there's a hot, there's a cold. You have this book, you sit and you slice it off, you're always going to have a left and a right. There's an opposite for everything. So if you choose to look at the good in the situation and change your perspective, everything changes. I know it did for me, for sure. So think about that. And then have visual reminders. That's another thing that I talk about. I have visual reminders all around my office of different affirmations, different things that I've heard, and I switch them out. Have pictures of, that you can visually look at, of maybe some of your big goals. If it's a house that you want, or vacation you want, maybe it's, something that you want to buy, or an experience you want to have, or it's faith-based, or health-based. Have some of those visual reminders that you can look at throughout the day. And when your alarm goes off every 3 hours, take a minute and just connect to it. So if you need a visual one, or get recorded on your memo on your phone and listen to it for 2 minutes. It does not take long. It's easy to do, and it's easy not to do. Most people don't do it because they're not in the habit of it. So it's really building these disciplines. You have to decide. And that's why you have to be inspired and you have to be motivated, because it's easy not to do, or it's easy to start, stop, and make all the reasons why you didn't do it. You can have reasons, or you can have results. You can't have both. You either have the results, or you have the reasons why you don't have the results. So think about that. Give yourself grace. No one's perfect. I'm not, my coach isn't, Bob Proctor wasn't. We all have our things coming up. But catch it. The sooner you catch it, the sooner you correct it, the sooner you move on. Don't beat yourself up about it, because that's not going to help at all. That's actually going to make your energy and vibration quite a bit lower. You can't change what you did yesterday. You can't even change what time you got up this morning. You can change in this moment how you're showing up and what you intend to do. And it's through your actions and through what you're doing that the universe will respond. So it's a pretty cool thing. The other thing that came up is someone had asked about repetition. Why is it so important? Repetition is so, and I know I already mentioned that a little bit earlier, but repetition is so important because it's how you impress upon your subconscious. Go back and watch, I believe it was week 2, when we talk about the stick figure and how there's a picture of the mind. Everything's mind. There is no picture of the mind. The mind's everywhere. So it's about having your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. And it's through the repetition of you accepting in your conscious mind this new goal, or this new decision you're making, or this new habit. And just through the repetition of watching these videos, of understanding, of hearing it differently, that it will impress upon your subconscious. And once your subconscious accepts it, that's now the vibration you're in, and that's how your actions will be taken based upon how you're feeling. And that's where the universe responds and puts the people, the places, the things, the opportunities, it'll all be put in your place if you're feeling and in the right vibration, and your subconscious has accepted it. And what we do from day to day, honestly, is from when we were young children and our subconscious was wide open, we accepted all of the programming, that all the things that were going on around us. I mean, think about it. If you were born, or if you have a child and you move, or you trade babies, don't do that. But let's say your baby goes to Beijing You know, are they going to know the English language? Are they going to grow up speaking the English language? Not unless they're taught it. They're going to grow up learning and knowing that language and being able to communicate with the people around them. Just like if you were born here and you know English and this is what you learn and this is the language you speak. It's because of your environment, a lot of what you eat, a lot of what you believe, a lot of what you know to be reality that's not true or reality at all is based upon your programming and you being in this lane and not opening up and looking at different perspectives or different options or opportunities. And this is just where you're at and you don't know any different. You don't know what you don't know, so you don't go to find it. So it's in understanding how repetition will really open up different areas of your life, of your understanding, and it will impress upon your subconscious what it is that you want. That's why the 3-hour alarms are important. That's why auto suggestion is important. Auto suggestion, again, is saying your goal out loud or your positive affirmations out loud. And with all of this, with your alarms, with saying your goal, with affirmation, if you do auto suggestion, if you do gratitude, visual reminders, if you're doing all these things just to check a box, do not waste your time. Don't do them. What you want to do, and the whole premise of why you do this, is to connect subconsciously in your feeling, how you're feeling. You feel it. You say you're grateful. Why are you grateful for the sunrise or for the cup of coffee or for the vacation you took? And you have to connect to it and feel it. Same with your affirmations, same with your goal. If you're just, I'm so happy and grateful now, that's just checking a box. Just don't even do it, because it's a waste of time. It's not going to do anything. This is all about getting your vibration raised up and connecting on a different frequency and feeling it. You know, we can feel bad all day. We can feel bad about something we did, something in our past, something we wish we would have said, or something we wish we wouldn't have said. We could feel guilty about our bank account or investments, where we're at wealth-wise, health-wise. I ate that piece of cake last night. I'm kicking myself today. That type of stuff. We can just sit there and do that. And that's what most people do, because they're not thinking. Most people think they're thinking. 95% of people don't think at all. They're just on this autopilot, letting their subconscious, their habitual behaviors, their programming run their day. 3% think they think, but they don't really think. And 2% would rather die than think. So if you really get down to it, what that means is that we don't understand how the conscious mind and our environment and everything we're hearing, we're impressing upon us, and that's how we're getting our results. And many people don't like the results, and they can't change them because they're looking at the results. They don't like them. They're feeling a certain way because the results aren't what they want. So they're looking at the results. They feel down here in the vibration. So they're putting this vibration out. They're getting more of this, same results, feel the same way. Put that out, get it back, same results. So can you see how you're just spinning down here, looking at your results, feeling crappy about it, putting out that vibration, getting that back, getting the same results because you're stuck. And 90% of people are stuck down here, and they don't understand why, because they don't understand this process. It's by detaching from this result, throwing it in the ocean, locking in a lockbox, and starting to come from your goal, thinking at a higher raising your vibration to be on a higher frequency, that's where the magic will start happening and things will start changing. And it could be a day, it could be a month, it could be a few months. It depends. It depends how committed you are to this, how much you think about this, how you use your higher faculties versus your 5 senses, which we'll get into. more here in the coming weeks. But really, really think about what you can do to detach from how you're feeling if it's that low vibration. Because if you're not liking your results and you're feeling crappy about it, and you're staying there and you're feeling the feels and all the feels about it, you're putting that out and you're getting that back. And that's the vicious cycle. So any questions about that? I know that's a big one. And that's something, again, through watching these videos over and over, it will become more apparent. I still hear it differently every time. And I have watched and understood this in the stick figure. I don't know how many thousands of times I've seen that. And it's different. And even the people that I look up to and that I have as mentors and coaches, same for them, because we're never the same. We're always changing. So you're always going to hear it differently. You're going to feel it differently. Something's going to click. And this is a journey. It's a lifestyle. There's no end goal, because every year you're leveling up. You set your goal, you get your goal, you become that new, that new person, a new version of you, because it's who you become in the process of getting your goal. And now this is your standard. And then you set your next goal. And then you get to that one. And that's who you become. And now this is your new standard. And then it just keeps going. Can you see how mastery it's always something you're going to be chasing or going after or wanting to get better. No one ever masters, being at that 100% level 7 energy, or just in the spirit of it all the time. Some people, monks and people that meditate and are in that for days, but never 100% of the time. So really, it's just about mastering today and getting your 1% better, and really paying attention to your thoughts and your environment. That's where I would really, really watch your thoughts, because you have an attitude towards everything. You have an attitude towards this call. You have an attitude towards what I'm talking about. You have an attitude towards your next appointment or what's on your calendar for the day. And if you're not happy, and if your attitude isn't good, and if you're looking and you're just like, oh man, this sucks, then I would really look at doing that 7-day exercise of what would a perfect day look like, and start doing things, even if it's 1% every day, that will inspire you or make you feel better, or that you can look forward to. And then you'll start switching them out. If you would have told me 10 years ago that I would be where I am today, I would have never, ever, ever believed it. I was in a 9-to-5 job for 13 years. I had a 401k, 6 weeks paid vacation. I knew I had kind of gone as far as I was going to go in the company, and there wasn't much more than the 1 to 3% maybe a year that was ever going to change for me. And then I found real estate and my passion for serving people, and knowing how dedicated and committed I was like, wow, that's got to be the ultimate way to serve someone. And I jumped ship from a 13-year career to 100% commission, not knowing a thing. I went from knowing everything to knowing absolutely nothing. 100% commission, no paycheck, no paid vacation. I had to get my own health insurance, which was a lot more expensive, all this stuff. And yet I just knew that I took inspired action. I knew that I was going to, I was contracting at that point, because we are made for expansion. And so think about what you're doing. Do you feel like it's contracting you, or is it expanding you? Because we're spiritual beings having a human experience. We're not humans having a spiritual experience, which most people have that backwards. And spiritually, we're made for expansion. So if you're not growing and expanding, you're actually going backwards and dying. So if you're stuck or if you're feeling uninspired, then that's something that you absolutely want to look at. It's scary as hell jumping like that, not knowing. But in the end, even if I lost it all, because I had 2 kids, married, house, I'm like, what's really the worst case scenario? Lose the house. I don't know that I would have lost my husband or kids. I would have figured go live with an in-law or go live with my parents, work overnights, work 2 jobs each, figure it out. There's always, everything's figure outable if you choose to go down that path and figure it out. So if you dumb it down, and if you, well, not even dumb it down, but if you take from where you are and looking at that big goal that scares the hell out of you, what's the worst that could truly happen? You lose money, you lose sleep. It's really, but it's got to inspire you. And that's the whole point. If it doesn't inspire you, you're not going to take the action that you need to take to make it happen. So the goal's got to inspire you, and think about your attitude around it and what you're willing to do, knowing that failure is part of the process. I mean, I went into a career I knew nothing about. I knew I was definitely going to fail forward, and I did. And it was just all feedback for me to correct and go do it differently. And through doing that over and over and over again, I became top 20%. I had in 5 years a career in real estate that take most agents 20 plus years if they ever get that many transactions at all. See, it's in the experience you have, not your number of years in the business, because your experience happens in the field, in the transactions, in the work of it. You can be a realtor for 50 years and sell 5 houses. So think about it that way too. What are you doing to really hone in on your craft and make it where you're leveling up your service all the time, and watching your thoughts, because whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right either way. So definitely want to think about that, because it's true. It's true. If you don't think you can, then you won't. If you if you don't think you can, you won't. And if you think you can, and you'll build the disciplines, you'll make the decision, you'll recommit every day, you'll get 1% better every day. If you do that, you're already in the top 10%, because most people won't even do that. So think about that as you're setting your goals as well. And as you get up and start rationalizing all the reasons why you can hit snooze, or you did it yesterday, so you don't need to do this today. The discipline, oh, I did my alarms yesterday, I'm good. That's just your old programming trying to hold you down, because it doesn't want you to change. Comfortable, stay where you're at. Don't move. You don't need that. Who do you think you are? Worthiness issues, confidence issues, all of that, the reasoning will just sneak in. And that's why this program is so important, and understanding this information, because the more you can be aware of it, and when it's happening, the quicker you can snap out of it. Nope, not today. I'm doing this. And it's through the repetition of doing that over and over and over and over again, because it will happen every day until the day you leave this earth. That's where you'll grow. And that's where the magic, as they say, happens, and your goals will be achieved. So beautiful process. Another thing that came up as well is people want to jump into the higher faculties a little bit more right now. So I thought I'd touch base on them real quick. Higher faculties. So you have perception, will, imagination, reason, memory, and intuition. So starting with perception, I'll go through them really quick. We'll go through them quite a bit more, but just so you can see, and you can always, Google the higher faculties, Bob Proctor, and he'll go through them a lot more. Just to put this out there right away, as you're starting to go through, find, when we study the higher faculties, find which one you're already good at. One of them, like mine was intuition. I've always been pretty intuitive. So I knew I didn't need to work on that one as much. So pick one of these to work on. and decide that you're going to work on it every day. Set the alarm on your phone, put it in your calendar, whatever you need to do. And once we get through the higher faculties, start working on them, get really good at one, and then move on to the next. So the first one would be perception. And for me, this is really just about looking at the situation from a different perspective. This shifted everything in my life regarding co-parenting situation that I was in. I was very much the victim. Everything was happening to me. How could this happen? Why is she doing this? Who does she think she is? This is horrible, blah, 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 blah. And it wasn't until I shifted my perspective with an exercise, which we'll go over, that everything changed. And in shifting my perspective and changing my energy, everything shifted. It was phenomenal. So if something or situation or circumstance, maybe it's something that you have with a relationship or in your work environment or friend-wise, just take a different perspective. Go to gratitude. What are you grateful for that person? When you get triggered, if your partner, a kid or a friend or a family member triggers you, go right to gratitude. What are you grateful for about them? It will shift your energy right away and give you a different perspective. So that one's quick. The will. So the will kind of, for me, goes along with imagination, because imagination, as you're imagining your goal already achieved and you're feeling it as if it's already done, what you want to do, and you're picturing, the things and what you're wanting and where you're going. And you might be imagining you're smelling what you need to smell, and be, and you're seeing what you want to see. It's your five senses by using your imagination. What the will does is the will allows you to hold a picture on the screen of your mind for longer than 1 second. Could it be 30 seconds? Could it be a minute? So it's almost like a meditative thing. But what Bob Proctor has done is he said, put a dot on the wall or light a candle and, sit across the room from it. And it's almost like if you've ever stared at a candle really long, you almost become one with the candle. Or if you stare at something on the wall, it's like this blur vision or something happens to your perspective or your, being able to focus. So that's how you can strengthen your will, so that when you're using your imagination and you're going from your higher faculty of the imagination and feeling your goals, if it's already done, if your will is strong enough, you can hold on that frequency and raise your vibration for a lot longer. At first, it's going to be maybe a second, but it's through strengthening your will that you'll be able to hold it for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute. And the longer and the more often you can hold there, that's where it really just is so impactful for you. So you have your perception, your will, imagination we touched on the intuition. That's where you have that gut feeling to do it or to not do it. Mine has been a lot like the one gentleman at one of the brokerages I was at. We talked a lot, helped him a lot. It was just a really, really fun guy. And all of a sudden he wasn't there. And I'm like, oh, where did he go? So I, saw him on Facebook, and his posts were just so interesting. I was like, oh, wow, what's he doing? And I kept hearing this saying, call him. And I was like, just ignoring it. And then, it happened again, or I'd see something, I'd be like, wow, that's really, I gotta call him, and finally by the third time, I actually called him. And it changed my whole trajectory of what brokerage I was at, my coaching, mentorship. My whole life shifted within 2 weeks of making that phone call. And I was completely leveled up at a different place. Quantum leap, as they call it. Instead of doing that 1 to 3%, what if you 10x, 100x, 500x? That's what I did from one phone call. And it took me 3 times of that intuitive hit. So start listening to those little hits, because they're there for a reason. And so many of us will just be like, yeah, I don't have time, or okay, yeah, that person. It's there for a reason. So if you start just leaning in, even if it's every so often, it's amazing what can happen. So intuition is definitely one of them. That was my strongest one. I still work on it in the way that I follow it a lot more than I used to. So that's how I strengthened it. But really just listening to your inner guidance, because you have all the answers inside of you. You just have to start listening, and you have to have a mentor or coach that asks you the right questions to bring that out. So it's really, really quite powerful. Memory, it's using your memory for good. So many of us, again, go back. Oh, we say we have a bad memory. I don't remember, or I can't do this, or I can't do. All of our memories are locked inside of us. It's what we choose to access or choose to ignore. So how can you take your memory and use it powerfully for you? How can you, take memories and either disconnect for the ones that no longer serve you, and really use your memory and strengthen it? So that's, as reading. I mean, there's a gentleman that Bob talks about that can teach people, anyone, to memorize the Bible. I mean, could you even imagine? But what we do is we're reading, we connect what we're reading, hearing, seeing to different things, different events or different symbols in our mind. So it's really diving into your memory and starting to make these connections and using your memory and what you can remember through repetition and through understanding how your memory works, in order to, again, get you from where you are to where you want to be, instead of just letting your programming and the memories in there run the show. Take control of your memory and start really diving into that. So that's a good one too. And then reason. It's where the reason is a lot of what makes us different from all the other animals in the kingdom, because we can choose to accept or reject. We can reason, and we have our conscious mind, where you can, again, do I accept what I'm hearing on the news or on TV, or that I've learned, or what I'm saying to you right now? So just reason and understanding that you can think differently. You can use this higher faculty for your good and for the good of yourself and your goal, and not against yourself. And again, we'll do a deep dive into the higher faculties, but that keeps coming up as a question. So I wanted to just touch base on those a little bit today, knowing that we will have a whole hour designed around the higher faculties, and doing a much deeper dive with more, I guess, meat on that one. But if you want, in the meantime, just Google it, higher faculties, Bob Proctor. You get a really good understanding as well on those as well. So that's pretty much all the questions that came in, and what I have been talking with others about regarding these first couple videos and times that we've met. It's really about, how do I make a goal, not understanding really the average, good, exceptional goal. So if you still have questions, or if it's just not quite as crystal clear as you would need it to be, feel free to reach out. That's why I'm here. I want to make sure this is transformational for you. That's why I do what I do, because this has transformed and changed my life, and continues to, year after year after year. And that's all I wish for everyone out there. And that's why I've dedicated and intend to dedicate the rest of my time here to teaching people this, because this isn't taught in schools. People don't know this. Most people don't know about their higher faculties. They only know about their five senses. There's just so much potential locked up in each one of us, even the people that are at the very top of their game, doing the very best, that we look at and we're like, oh my gosh, wow, they're still only utilizing a very small percentage of their potential. There's so much locked up inside of you. That's tapping into it. That's where you just get massive results just creating the awareness around this information, the awareness around what you have, and starting to listen and live through your higher faculties, listening to your intuition, deciding on your irrevocable committed decision of your goal, recommitting to it every day, setting the standard, creating the disciplines, working on your self-image, and really checking your attitude. It's just a different way of thinking. It's a different way of living, and it's beautiful, and it changes everything, and it'll change everything for you. And you holding yourself, you'll be amazed of what people around you close to you will say. And they'll be like, what's different about you? Or you'll start hearing them say things differently, because now you're programming the people around you on a different vibration, to a different frequency, based upon how you're responding versus reacting, because you only can control yourself. I can tell you that for sure. 100%. Take 100% responsibility. Do not blame. Do not be a victim and blame others. Take 100% responsibility for what it is that you that has happened, where you're at, and stop looking to point fingers at other people. And once you do that as well, you'll feel the shift, and people around you will feel the shift as well. So thank you so much. I appreciate all of the questions. It's always helpful. So we have 2 more Q&A calls. This one will be in the membership site, and be sure again to watch over and over again, because that is where the shift will happen, and it's all about creating awareness. So till next time, have a good one.